they don't like to have particular weapons being used right now to this day. A couple
really?
of folks got them, even if some of them don't admit it.
Right.
And they are currently in the midst of actually doing a world deactivation. I read up a while ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it's some heavy stuff going on right now in these times. Yet we are focused on these shots. Even in that, technically, even that, you have to understand how you're at war and who you're at war with, so you can then determine what is going to be your strength and your weakness when at war with them. These are, what's another way of saying this? In the martial arts realm, both war and sex are times of communication. You know, fighting is that time from which we get to learn each other best, and just like in sex as well. You know, we are learning each other's moves, how we transition, how we shift, how fast, how slow we are at certain things, which way we can go, how long, how short. And when it comes to us and being those type of people where we open our gates, our doors, we'll say, hey, you can have this, I don't want this if you are in need. Things of that nature, which we are continuously still to this day doing, hence why many of our elder teachers were also the ones who are pushing the idea that, hey, we might want to check this out because many of the things that we've been doing are very similar to what they always told us that the indigenous were doing just here in America. Not saying we don't do this all over the world, yet, because the continuous thread of the theme goes that we have welcomed these people who have come in as our enemy, yet we welcome them as our friend. So it became a weakness, even though it was our strength, because in that strength, we unified nations, people. We had communication as high up as Canada and as low down as Chile. Empires. Mayans empire would stretch all the way through the Carolinas, all the way down into Panama, or even South America. And that was between 3 different other empires as well. We're not even going as over as the Olmecs, and we still can.
Now let me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Going across that far, just in the Americas, and that's just over here. We can go over into Africa and talk about the Kemetic empires, the Empire of Kush. How were we able to move and translate these many people of their languages and their cultures, and then they still show that they have these deep connections if it wasn't for the strength of being able to welcome each other? War doesn't always have to be the manner from which we push people to agreeing with us. We get people to share in our ideas. By welcoming each other into our space, we then have that time for which we get to learn each other. We get to express interest in each other, let alone we get to share our ideas.
Yeah, I think that's called, what is it? Cultural, I forgot the name of it. But yeah, it's basically culture. A lot of times cultures are solidified and grow through sharing.
Yes.
Yeah, so I forgot there's a term for that in sociology, but I can't remember. So yeah, okay, so this conversation went totally different from the original premise, but no, this is
because you opened it with.
I know, no, it's great.
Piece,
no, but
it's beautiful. It's something that people need to know and understand and to learn.
Right.
And it's our time.
Right.
It's our time. I was just watching something before you hit me, and
I appreciate you coming through because this was hella last minute.
I was doing community work when you hit me.
And can I say one thing?
What's up?
Okay. This is a black man for real. Like, I'm 37. No, 38. I'm 38. I've never been around someone as committed as you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have such a spirit of humility, but it's not weak. You know what I'm saying? Because some people mistake humility, but I can see, like, oh, this is a strong brother. You know what I'm saying? He really has a heart for his people, and I respect the fact that your face doesn't always have to be in the forefront. Like, I've been places, I'm like, damn, Khalifa here? Like, you got the camp, like, just, you've always had a heart for service. And that has deeply resonated with me, and I want you to know that.
So I appreciate that. I mean, that is a part of that tradition, that humanness. And I appreciate you for saying that, because a lot of times I need that. I need that reminder. But that's also, I kind of chose to be that because I was, as you can hear from my many things, I end up being the one in the foreground. And at times, because of the many ways that we are able to talk and speak and represent ourselves, we are often asked to be in the foreground,
Definitely.
and that ends up taking away from not only seeing and learning from others,
Yeah.
because you got to see and learn who in these spaces that you're talking about. But sometimes you need to be in the background so you can be like, hey,
Observing, seeing what's yeah.
like, what's going on here? Oh, you do what? You know who you do this? You talking what? Oh, he was talking about that. This mean we over here and he talking about this over here. You know, and we talking about we're having this type of conversation in the middle of Atlanta where a lot of that stuff go on, and that's the benefit of being able to stand where I've stood and be where I am, and that's why I super appreciate that, my brother. Thank you so much.
For sure, man, for sure. I wanna ask you a question. How do you feel about the Biden administration? He is the
I don't
lesser
know.
of two evils, supposedly. So, how do you feel?
I don't feel.
Okay.
I don't really feel. It's because, I'm also looking at a man who has, and this is a dangerous question to be asking me, especially as a community representative.
Oh, yeah,
And
my-
daggone-
if you don't wanna answer it,
no, I'm going to answer it because my community knows and understands who I am, so it's fine because we're talking about this corporation's head leader, president, and our elder teachers have always reminded us that though they have been put into a position where they're supposed to so-called serve us, they've also been put in a position which they are serving other, we'll say, things that be.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that we have always been put to the task of dealing with people who do not have us as a part of their interest, when ultimately in the forefront and the background, we have always been the standing post to keeping this bitch together. And I'm using that language to make sure whoever's watching and listening, especially if there's anybody who's a representative, especially when it comes to the city of Atlanta, particularly what we are dealing with and where we've been and why we've been stuck. There's no reason why we should have somebody in office who has formidably, through his own records, has been at our neck against us, and then we have to come back to the table again and again and again and be told no. Then as well, which is funny, I was trying to talk about this the other day. Folks had an issue with talking about Ice Cube talking to Trump. Well, what's the difference between me talking to Biden? Who wrote the law to get my brothers and sisters more jail time?
Right.
Who had the opportunity to push forward efforts to create an environment of healing for my people and still has not done so? Twice. Matter of fact, technically, she say 3 times. Because the vice president twice, and now you're the president.
True. Yeah. True.
So I'm here to challenge those who are in the bully pulpit as well as those who are around. Because now I'm in the political arena. I jumped off the ground and kind of got a little closer because I had to figure out what's going on. And in that, I understand the power of language and words, me being a wordsmith and all. So I challenge those who have done, because I'm not here to also say that, because it's interesting, we started with reparations. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to say that people cannot change. I'm also here to say that you watch the hand that stabbed you in the back to see how far they're willing to pull that knife out. And that's what I'm challenging of all people, black and white, because this is more than just one person, because who put him there? Who assisted in the efforts that he was able to push forward on? Because when we talk about that, they always talk about the crime bill when they talk about Biden, which is why I said I can't really have a feel for him, support-wise or against-wise, because who voted for these bills?
Yeah.
Who was behind or helping or at the table when most of these things got pushed? A lot of those people are still there and are us.
Yeah.
And that's what be ticking me off about my people. Because I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, wait. I almost didn't really know about Joe Biden. I was mad at my people who
Right.
voted for that first.
Right.
I refuse to be ready. I'm going to hold my president accountable.
Got to.
And as well, I'm going to make sure I hold my people accountable first. Which I wish, even today, I kind of wanted to be the one to have had the ability to done that more so with Joe Biden. With Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
But see, Barack Obama, it's
I give nobody any excuses.
no. I
When it
feel you.
comes to, because when you are at that point, unless you have some things you want to tell us, please do. Because Trump surely did.
Very candid. Very transparent.
Surely did.
But I respected that.
And that was why, and that's why people were trying to push for this man, because up under, before I'm going to stop there, I'm going to make sure I can finish that point.
Okay.
Unless there's something that needs to be stated, you know what I'm saying, screen pineapple or something, we need to be able to see that the person who's supposed to be proclaiming a position of power over the collective of a people, if you're going to represent all people, then represent all people and serve all people where they need their services done at. Where are they in need? At what points can they be given measures to increase and advance themselves and be bettered? That's what I call presidency. That's what I always imagined my leaders to do for us, to be for us. What was the point of me going to a poll and checking a box to saying I support you? What was the point of me coming to these rallies? What was the point of me raising the sign? What was the point of me making all these posts every day, all day, sharing things across all the social medias, knocking on doors, signing petitions,
Right.
making phone calls and arguing with family members just to support one particular person, let alone representing a particular group of people, because they bring in people with them. These particular groups of people, if you are not going to come back to the ground and support the floor so that everything that you stand upon will not fall off from under you, I don't understand that. So in that,
Go ahead. I know you have one more.
yeah, so in that, jumping back on that, what was that?
I'll go ahead. I was just gonna say what I was gonna say because I'm building off of what you said.
Go ahead.
It'll come back. It'll come back. I love how you keep saying corporation.
Yeah.
Corporation. I think it was Noam Chomsky. He has a quote where he says, "Government is the shadow cast by big business."
Absolutely.
So, capitalist infrastructure, this shit is about winners and losers. You know, and I think with us, it goes back to our humanity, how humane we are. I think sometimes we speak from a moral premise,
Yes.
but the bottom line is this is about dollars and cents.
Absolutely.
What they say, politics is not a gift. Politics is an exchange. It's not a gift. So I want to say this: us as black people, until we really start giving these politicians an economic incentive to work at our behest, we're bullshit. Because like I said, I think our humanity, sometimes it works against us. We're coming from a moral premise, and this world does not function off of a moral premise. I think the highest form of warfare is economics. And I'll argue that with anyone.
That's,
That's my opinion.
I will engage in the argument.
Okay.
Yet, you're talking to a people that's downtrodden, a people that's not organized, a people who have more interest in standing at the table than they do maintaining the legs of the table under it. And I'm talking particularly about our own. And we saw that several times, many times, and time again. I had a daggone thought the other day about Judas's. Because when I talk about this, I'm reminded of, must have meant to be a hawk fly. I'm gonna tell y'all this.
Shout out to Haru.
For real. We have situations from which we've always had a person or people who've been given the task of helping guide us to our ability to be greater than. Not even to be greater than, just to be us, just to be us, let's just exist as us, as highly as we should be.
Right.
Yet there have been people who are just so afraid or angered or just not willing to allow us to be and exist as our natural born selves, to where they would be willing to accept something in the background just to allow, if not do it themselves, the ushering out of these particular people from being our guiding light. Even if the people are still alive, they may have been totally downtrodden and dragged through the mud to where they were no longer listened to or heard from. These things have been consistent, and I see it a lot in our community. And we've been seeing it even more so, particularly with just our rappers. I found that even odd. You know, it was just.
Can you elaborate on that?
I'll do you one even better. 50 Cent holla at me.
Okay.
50 Cent, they just made a post. I seen a post that 50 Cent is going to be doing I guess a show of sorts, like a documentary show,
Okay.
talking about the murders of
Like
Hip-hop.
Oh yeah, like the hip hop cops. Yeah, how they
and they're going to be going through unsolved murders, basically, of hip hop. And they already have a racked out list of people who, they got taken out. And
Right.
I don't think it's just unsolved. I think it may have been hopefully the ones that were solved as well.
Right.
Because we need to understand why, because it is very interesting that some of these particular people who have lost their lives are also connected to certain companies and organizations and corporations. Maybe that's also something I was thinking about finishing saying earlier. Because when it comes to where we are, we have to understand how we are. In order for us to exist in this plane of existence called United States of America,